Hey, it's Kalile, and this is my new vlog. It is super late, and this vlog is probably going to go up super late sometime on Thursday, maybe even Friday, because I have to do stuff with bands. But anyways, so this is the first one where I'm actually going to talk about and show things that I do and things that I did these last 2 weeks. Um, they were kind of a blur. I wasn't really paying attention. I felt I didn't want to just whip my camera out for every little thing. So I'll show you what I did do this weekend or this last few weeks and what happened. First things first, throughout the week, I had to get ready for a show with my band Cordoba. It's like jazz, rock stuff. Really dig them. And we introduced two new members and practice was fun. Some of them had a nice noodle. We have a keyboardist and you'll see him, and then we had a trumpeter, and yeah, they really add to our dynamic and it was great. I was a bit nervous for the gig because man, everyone's schedules is just wild. That's the thing with people having jobs and not just being musicians, and everyone has different schedules. So getting everyone in the same room was a bit of a challenge, but well, you'll see a little bit how it played out. And that was throughout the week, but what really popped off was over the weekend. It would be last weekend, so what day would that be? The 10th? The 10th. Two big things happened. My band, the Devons, had a recording session, and my band, Cordoba, had a show. The Devons has to finish five, 6 songs by September, so that's why we started our studio, and we're going to be in there for a while. In Cordoba, we're starting up our whole. I don't think this is our first show of the year. Maybe it's our first show with the full band with the extra members. I think we may have played one show earlier, but in there also we're gonna get started up with them. And so those two things, the recording studio. So the studio is this quaint one in Chicago. Um, we actually recorded there. When did we record there? For the album that we did release, the EP we did release, it's no longer available online. We had to take it down, but it was gonna get put up again eventually when we get permission. Uh, it's a pretty great place. It's like in this old bunker, not a bunker, like a warehouse built around World War II, I think, and it's been repurposed, and there's a lot of different places inside that you can go to. Man, what is that name of the place? Well, hopefully I put in where the name is. If not, I'll leave it down below. But anyways, you walk in, you gotta get buzzed in, and you walk through a hallway, up some stairs, you walk back down the hallway, and you get these huge doors, and boom, you're in this nice old studio. It's really huge, and it's feels a bit airy. I mean, it's well insulated, but it just feels airy. It's on top of the building. You got this main area, and the way it's set up is cool. The drums are in front of the, like, I guess, the old control room. Guitar is on its own platform. Keyboards had this little station. I had my own little station. Um, and yeah, I really dug it. It's a really good feel, and the guy who runs it is a good dude. He really respects my band leader, and their dynamic makes it just that much better, that much cooler. Um, and the setup was pretty straightforward. Drummer didn't have to bring his drums. The studio has this amazing drum kit. It's all mic'd up and ready to go. Guitars, he has a hollow body, but they also had the amps. They had all the amps for us. Keyboardist, he loves a Rhodes. Our band leader, keyboardist, vocalist, loves a Rhodes, and the studio has a nice Rhodes that he used. But then he also bought his Nord. I can't remember which one, and he plugs that direct in. And me, I bought my new bass. New for me. Well, new as in I got it a few months ago. I have a nice made in Mexico jazz bass from the early 90s. I got it for a steal, a really good deal. I needed new electronics, or at least the electronics I were kind of meh, and the strings had been changed for a while. Well, my band leader gifted me the electronic from an American made jazz bass, Fender Jazz. So I had them all swapped out, and now it plays fabulous. And I was going to play that for both of our songs, but well, for the first song, I had to use a different bass. Now, the amp I was using is this really old Ampeg Portaflex, like probably older than me. Maybe, I don't know what age. I'm gonna guess like 80s, maybe. It's all super dusty. You'll see a video of it. And I was playing into that, and for the first song we're doing is a cover, this really old, really groovy song, and it's a good song. But my bass, as soon as I started playing, we did our first take. I didn't record any of it. I'm just like, No, this let me. Can I use the old bass? Because the old bass is this Vox. The studio, the guy who runs it has a Vox, hollow body, super top heavy, flat wound. It is deep. It is very deep and very retro sounding, and I had to get that, plugged it in, switch it over, and it sounded much better. And yeah, we did a few takes. That one wasn't so bad. We didn't play it to a click, and it all turned out well. You can hear a little bit of that. Now, after that, what we did was we switched to the other song, one of our songs. It's called the Funk Song Among Us. It has a name, and I've probably heard the name like once or twice, but I just called it the Funk Song, and then I went back to my jazz bass, cranked the volume, both pickups, cranked the tone knob. So it wasn't clacking, but it was definitely bright and shiny up top. But this song gave us a lot of problems. Like, I usually am probably the one of the tightest of all of us playing live, mostly just because my parts are simple. I've memorized them, and it's just like they are what they are, and I play them every time. Everyone else plays probably more complicated stuff, but even me, like normally I'm pretty solid, but even my fingers, they were just not doing a whole little flippy things like I can't show it, but you can hear how I flip around on that bass, and it's nothing complicated, but it's just my fingers were getting dumb. Um, Everyone else just had all these little mistakes, and so we're just like, okay, let's pause. Maybe it's how fast we play. And then we experimented with that. We weren't playing with a click at first, and we threw on a click, and that made it well. And we did a few takes, and everyone eventually got a solid take that they felt was great, but we didn't all have it at the same time. So you may have to chop that up and whatnot. Bottom line is, we finally did that. We were done, and then we had to go up to the room. The control room is really cool because when you got this whole open floor area, like behind where I was standing, it'll be out of the frame, but I'll probably pan up. You can see the control room up there, and with the control room, it's pretty nice. And he's got a lot of cool old retro gear in there, some pedals, a green. I want to say that's a green Russian muff, the coveted muff that I really want. That reissue just came out. Probably gonna cop. Well, yeah, recently. I'll probably cop it before the end of the year. It's only $80. That's been like my dream up for a long time. Anyways, got to go up there and chill and listen and talk, and ultimately decided the work of the day was just fine, and which is great because it was getting late and the Cordoba gig had to happen. So the guitarist of the Vons has his own band called Cordoba. I am in that band, and we had a gig. So we left straight from the studio and went straight to the venue and got in there. We were the last ones, the bands to get there. We set up, no problems. Thank you so much for the bands for letting us use their gear. I got to use the last band's gear, so we opened Cordoba open, and I'll show some footage of that in a little bit. And then we also next was Jessica Risker. Played with them before at Cordoba. They're great. And the keyboardist, he's really cool dude. Is really to talk shop about synths. I really like synths. He really likes synths, and we kind of nerd out sometimes online and talk about what's coming out. And he's a really appreciate that dude. And fortunately, it was a little bit loud during everybody's set. It was a bar. It was a bar for us, a very cheap bar on a night that a lot of people came out. So a lot of talking, and they played quiet music. That was kind of a bummer. But I was just up front. I was having a good time. You'll see in the video. I was right there, vibing out. Really, really dig what they're doing. They're doing some interesting stuff. It's like folk backed by synths, and it sounds good. And then after that was the Red Scarves. So the saxophonist in Cordoba plays in the Red Scarves, and they are a good time. They're bombastic. You'll see. They're bombastic. They're a great time. They play "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" cover, which I love. They're just great. I don't know if you've played with them before. I've definitely been to like one, maybe two of their shows, and it's definitely a good time. And that was that. After that, I definitely chilled out, and I got a gig coming up. So on Tuesday, when Devon's and another band practice both same day. Thankfully, we share a lot of members. Started practicing for a show we got coming up on Sunday, and I'll do my best to get some footage of that. And yeah, and that's the music thing that's happened. And other things, I am working on quite a few things at once. the most thing I've done the most work on aside from that would be, what is it called? The this project I'm working on where I'm gonna be one of a few composers and we're gonna be doing the background music for it. Well, we joined this project several months ago and we're nowhere near us being needed. We created some like temp tracks to kind of feel what the director was looking for and they dug it, and then that was like months ago. So we decided to do our own voiceovers instead of waiting for the VAs and for everything else to be done. We did our own voiceovers to kind of pretend how long the scenes would be to work that out, and we're gonna just score to our voiceovers, and then once we get the actual voiceovers, we'll just lengthen, shorten, do what we need to do to match the tone. Anyway, but bottom line is this is gonna give us a frame of reference for time, so we can actually start doing our composing, because that's why we joined, so we can do all of that. It's a pretty interesting team. There's three of us. We're all over. I'm in Chicago. I think one's in Tennessee, and I'm not sure where the other dude is. I think he's on the East Coast, and we're all communicating through Discord, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm doing that, but in the process of doing that, and we had to do our voices, right? So, and I thought to myself, how do I do voices? How do I make that happen? And I started delving into voice acting, and it seems interesting. I'm not saying I'm going to voice act, but I was learning a lot because I do want to do my radio play, which isn't going on at all right now because I've got all this other stuff going on. But slowly acquiring the gear to do that, getting the talent, considering stories, what I'm looking for, doing a lot of reading in regards to what makes a good story. I'm actually reading a really cool book that my brother got me for Christmas. Let's see. John Truby, The Anatomy of a Story. And I've read one other book about writing, two other books about writing a story. One of them was like Stephen King's, one was this random one I found that was really good. And they both gave me a lot of good advantages that I feel put my writing above anyone else who's written as much as I have, which is to say that amongst the amateur writers, I feel like I'm a decent writer. Very amateur, like fan fiction stuff. That one is next level. That one is doing a whole bunch of analysis and things I didn't even think about, and like relationships between characters and things like that. And I'm pretty excited to see what I learned from it now. I'm just gonna read it all and go back and like try to write my story while reading it over again, and I think it'll turn out well. I already have ideas of tropes that I want to do, and we'll go from there. It's gonna be great. Other than that, I bought a few games I probably shouldn't have. Vermintide 2 came out, and man, really dig it. Just killing a bunch of giant ratmen because they're trying to end the world, and we ain't having that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I still haven't really cleaned up my room. That's unfortunate, but that's gonna happen soon because my band Kaylee, we're getting back up, as I mentioned in the last video, and now that my synth is back, I've got a few ideas about the patches I want to make, and I have to experiment them, and I want to show you guys all the crap I have to do to go through to make patches on this thing. It's not the most straightforward. It's why I currently have nothing but presets on it, but we'll do that in a second. Let me pull it out. It's currently inside my book bag. I got this nice little case for it because I broke a knob off and I don't want to ever do that again. Let's see. Yeah, this guy right here is my circuit. Has nice sounds. Yeah, anyways, so getting real excited to use this synth, and that's pretty much it. That's where I am right now. It's super late Wednesday night. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this video in time. Like, video editing is a huge deal, and that's my bad. I'm probably gonna just stay up late, drink some more brewskis, and keep working. And I guess as a last send off, I told people that the Devons had their album release a while back, and there's some footage of it. The whole thing got recorded. I'll see if I can find those files and put it underneath. That may have to be till next week because I want to cut down the files to only the songs, do some audio treatment to get rid of some of the room sounds a bunch, pretty much turd polishing. I'm gonna polish this turd of a recording to make it as good as I can before I just pass it along. But here's some clips from it, and you can see me trying to groove out. This was the first gig with my new bass. That was back in January 14th, 20 something. I don't remember, but it was back in January. It was a great time, and thanks for watching. Yeah, don't know when this is gonna come up. Probably gonna be Friday, maybe even Saturday. I've already breaking my own truths. Here's what I'm probably gonna do. I'm probably gonna just upload the entire video of everything, all 50 minutes of what I've done, and then upload this video as like an apology. That way I at least meet my vlog, my video quota of putting up something. Because I'm also learning how to do video editing tonight at the same time. No bueno. Anyways, thanks very much for your time. Going to do some more editing when I finish editing as much as I can. Gonna play some more Robot Alchemic Drive. Take it easy.